The hacker who exposed the Steubenville rape case potentially could face more jail time than the convicted rapists.
And Deric Lostutter joins me now. Deric, thanks for joining us. What were you trying to achieve with your activism?
Basically, my specialty within Anonymous was what I refer to as weaponizing the media, which is getting people like you to broadcast what needed to be heard to the masses in a more effective way than Twitter and social media. I felt it necessary in order to weaponize the media that this girl would get justice, and she's thanked us many times. Family friends stopped by at rallies. She's texted people who have screenshotted the text and sent it to us, and our prayers go out to her, and we're just standing here with her at this point.
The young American made the rape case a national shame and outrage by posting video of the rape on the fan page of Steubenville's Big Red football team that showed some of the team members having sex with and humiliating and raping this 16-year-old drunk girl in August of 2013.
What's up, Deric? It's great to have you on our show.
All right, Chuck, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I hear you good.
Wonderful. It's good to be here. Yeah, glad to be here. Literally just woke up off the couch. Been kind of taking it easy this weekend. You know, I'm a workaholic. I be doing everything in the world. So it's like,
relatable.
took me a nap.
Nice. It's so relatable.
But my name is Deric Lostutter. I'm a former member of Anonymous. I guess if you had a membership list, even have a membership list, but formerly known as KYAnonymous, let me tell you that. And then right now I work in law. I'm in law school to be an attorney. That's my primary job. And then I also do things like I'm logged in right here on the Zoom as Rifle City Records. I own a record company. We don't like sign artists. We're not like a record label. We help you sign yourself and like distribute, no matter what kind of genre you are, your music to the world so you can be heard with different sorts of tools and things like that. I do credit repair. I help build websites and automation and things like that, and help businesses get off the ground and existing businesses revamp themselves. Work with a lot of people in the Philippines with that, and have a business partner that's from Los Angeles that currently lives in Miami with that. So that's what I do primarily.
Very nice. What inspired you to begin studying law?
Really just being a part of the system. You know, I was a part of the system at an early age growing up, and you know, in an unstable, violent household, and needing an attorney, and probably needed someone to intervene on my behalf. And it was kind of out of necessity. Once I got raided by the FBI and started fundraising for an attorney, you know, there was a group of people who began stalking my family and really trying to disparage my name. They took a website out of my name, posted a bunch of false content on that. I ended up settling those lawsuits in my favor. I was in the Eastern District in North Carolina, but they were from all over the United States. I now own the domain dericlostutter.org. It redirects to my website, dericlostutter.com. I was part of the settlement. So I learned a lot there. I went to prison. It was my side hustle, helped some people with some appeals and things like that. And when I got out, I went to a local attorney's office, a sole practitioner, with a list of cases I helped win and whatnot. Because whenever you're in prison, when we got a free law library, we got nothing but time, and you can doom scroll LexisNexis on the computer all day and just read that and learn a lot. And so I went there with a list of cases, and I got hired on the spot. They didn't even let me leave. So, yeah.
That's nice. When you have a lot of time while being in the system, that was my side hustle for the longest time.
Yeah.
I commend you for that. That is actually really cool.
Yeah. It was a thankless job in there, but some of them took care of me. You know, like I did it for this Puerto Rican dude, and I was still wearing the state issue boots, and he handed me a pair of Nikes. I was like, bro, I can't pay you for these. And, you know, and he's like, one hand washes the other, and I was like, that's what's up. Yeah.
Very nice. I want to revisit your case, and I know it's a heavily documented case, and then it's been covered by more media outlets than I am even aware of. We did a lot of scrolling, and we could go for days going through all the content that was covered on this case. It was so huge.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, and I know I know this is kind of like laying again the same foundation, but let's do it again, at least
Okay.
one last time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me the circumstances of the Steubenville rape case and how you got involved in that, and how did you find out about it?
All right. It's gonna require a shot of bourbon. So hold on one second.
Oh, I'm with you.
Lord. All right. So the Steubenville rape case. Oh shit. I was snowballing off some other shit that, which was snowballing off some other shit without telling on myself. And then there was a group of middle-aged women who, as you will find out in the Eastern District of North Carolina, I sued and found out it was them running the website plus one other person that showed up to the Steubenville protest. That brought it to my attention. And, one of the main rules of Anonymous is not your personal army, but they're like, get into this, look at this, look at this, look at this. And the more I looked at it, the more I discovered, I was like, oh my God, these teachers are covering it up. Michael McVeigh is covering it up. Coach Bellardine is providing alcohol to minors, things of that nature. And then just the photos. I mean, they basically post it all on Twitter. And tried to delete it, and the school was covering it up. Now, I got called a liar by a lot of people online. I got made out to be a liar on that website that I keep mentioning by people who wanted to capitalize on that, which I thought was wrong. And the main thing is that I was right. And the victim, Jane Doe, got justice and moved on with her life and went to college. And from what I hear, is doing really well. We don't speak. We've never spoken. I've spoken to some of her friends and stuff like that. But that's it. I respect her privacy. But the main thing is that not only was I right, everybody that showed up there to them protests, them thousands and thousands of people that filled the streets of Steubenville, Ohio, were right, because up to 4 school officials got indicted, some even doing jail time on the cover up. And I mean, you can Google that. School officials indicted on the cover up. Who went to jail on a cover up of Steubenville? The federal court system said I lied about that. Well, then why did they get the charge? You know what I mean?
I want you to simplify it, explain what we can already Google. We can Google this, but I want it to come from you. What happened? What was the incident, and who are all the actors involved, and involved in that cover up?
So Trent Mays and Malik Richmond, who got 1 and 2 years respectively, I believe, and charged as juveniles at that, basically sexually assaulted, unfortunately, underage female in Ohio at a party. Michael Nodianos is famous. You can find that video online. Famous in the wrong sense of the word for bragging about it as it was occurring. And it was a bunch of party hopping going on, things of that nature. And the school officials, I couldn't name them all since it's been so long, but like I said, Michael McVeigh was the school superintendent. Coach Bellardine, Coach Matthew Bellardine, provided alcohol to minors. I think he did jail time for that, and he even violated, I believe, his probation and went back. There was a few. The IT director and his daughter, for deleting emails and things of that nature, got indicted on that, or at least I know that they went to jail. I don't know indicted is the proper word to use, but all this information is readily available online. So those were the main actors in this case. I mean, there was a picture of like them carrying unconscious by her hands and feet and stuff like that. I mean, it's probably the most inflammatory, like devastating picture, man, because I got a little kid now. I got a 6-year-old daughter, and if that was my daughter, whew, bro, like, and then they left her outside at that, in front of her parents' house in the snow and things like that. I don't know if she was clothed or had shoes or a proper coat or anything like that. It was egregious what happened. It was straight up like it was just inhumane. And for adults to, really kind of not see that and worry more about their football program and things of that nature and try and make sure that that survived rather than, justice gets served. I mean, these dudes were out playing, on the field still. Yeah, of course the cops questioned them. Of course they went and checked in, but they got out. You know what I mean? And they're on the field. They ain't suspended for the season and this, that, the other. They're more worried about their football program and things like that, man. Like all the schools I went to, which is plenty of them, you would have been not only suspended from the team, but you wouldn't have been at school. Like, you know what I mean? Because you'd be a danger to other students. So I don't know what the hell was going on there, to be honest with you.
That's man, that's a really good explanation. So you have these two members of the football team sexually assaulting an underage girl. I think she was 16 at the time, unconscious, and then bragging about it.
I mean,
And then
that's the craziest part. That's all they did all night long. Video,
wow.
tweets, like just bragging about it like it was cool, and like other people just joining in with them. Like it was just cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And nobody's stopping them is the biggest thing. Like you're there at the party. Like you're as trash as they are, bro. Like female or male.
I agree. So what happens next is how do you get involved? How did you respond that escalated into you being the cyber vigilante that we've all heard?
Uh,
Explain that
well,
just
I've
for
already
like a common
done
audience.
the time. I've already done the time, and so I can talk about it a little bit. So me and another person who informed on me, who I'm not holding that against him. Whatever you need to do. We had conspired to access a school fan's website. It was rollredroll.com. Accessed it, changed the password, defaced it, and posted basically the evidence on that website. Some things about the webmaster who owns the website were also posted in that dossier. The FBI said that they were false as far as that part goes, but the FBI says a lot of things, so I don't know.
The FBI were saying that the images themselves were false and that the bragging was not what, credible?
Well, no, really, he had some stuff between him and another female in his account, but she looked underage, and apparently she was not, according to the FBI, and they looked into it, but it looked like it was taken in a school bathroom and this at the other, and she looked very young versus him being very old, him being, I believe, in a relationship and or married at the time. And so I was just like, what's really going on here? Like, it's just like a cult of people who just are preying on underage females. Now, I may have been wrong about the webmaster, and I apologize for that in court, in open court, but I was not wrong about the rest. And I don't apologize for that. A $12 website was down for 2 days is the basic situation. And the word got out to the world, and the world responded. And it costs probably $48 for that to occur. You know what I mean? Probably cost him $48 in damages to his website. He got it back, obviously, through his hosting company. But they decided that it was all right, even though I qualified for probation, to put me in prison at $38,000 per year to the taxpayer. Even though I qualified for probation, which would have been $4,000 per year to the taxpayer. And then they gave me 3 years probation afterwards. No access to the internet, that sort of thing. Couldn't work in IT for 3 years and that sort of stuff. So it's just like, I built my life up because we accessed the website like right around Christmas of 2012. About April of 2013, like right around when the Boston Marathon stuff happened, is when the FBI showed up at my house. I mean, not just the FBI. I'm talking SWAT team, guns out. They cleared my house. I'm gonna shot my brother. My brother came downstairs with, his 45, thinking we're getting robbed by some meth head in Winchester. You know what I mean? And then he almost got shot. He had to throw his gun into the window and get down. He gets zip tied. His lady gets zip tied, and you know, I get handcuffed, and we're all out like, what the hell? I know what's
Let
going
me
on.
ask you this.
They don't. Like, you know.
Why do you think the FBI just why do you think they come out in such a aggressive force to arrest some, I don't know, some hackers? What is this about? Because this is the norm,
It's,
from what I hear.
the militarization of police is just stupid right now. I mean, they respond to everything so crazy. I mean, you got all that gear and things of that nature, but you got an hour's worth of time in Uvalde and ain't saving no kids. You know what I mean? Like, stack up, do what you do. You know, they sat me on the deck, and we had a whole conversation, you know, about things. You know, and then they were like, hey, do you know who was involved? No. All right, that's charge number one. Lying to the FBI, because I ain't no snitch. I ain't taking a stand. And then charge number two, conspiracy, because he had already told them the whole story. You know what I mean? And so fast forward, you know, I get indicted 5 years later. Now I get indicted, but I move since then. I meet somebody since then. I live a law-abiding life. I think maybe I got one traffic ticket in between the time. I even purchased legally, passing a NICS background check, like 2 or 3 firearms since then, while under active FBI investigation. And which is crazy to me, because they're the ones doing the investigation. I was like, you know, I want a revolver, for instance, and I bought one. So the fact of the matter is, they followed me. I was always like, I was telling my wife, yeah, that's a Fed, that's a Fed, that's a Fed. And she always thought I was crazy, like paranoid. And I was like, I don't think so. Because we was in the hood in Winston, and like this Chevy, I believe, Silverado, like this $80,000 truck pulls up, you know what I mean, in the hood in Winston on Southside, and it's a white dude, you know, white dudes, but me in Southside Winston. He got the phone pointed towards my house, and I'm taking my pit bull out to take a shit. And that picture's in my discovery. Once I get a copy of my discovery, and I was like, I'm going through it, and I pull her in the room. I'm like, yo, I fucking told you that was a fucking Fed. Like, they followed me for this long across all these states, because we had moved to North Carolina and everything from Kentucky. And I'm like, how much do you think this cost them for this website, this $12 website, and taxpayers pay for it? You know what I mean? I agree that I broke the law, but I mean, damn, there's a different way to do it. I don't know. They even brought like a forensics team out, like in lab coats and shit like that. Like, I don't know what they was expecting to find. They asked me if I had like servers buried in the yard and shit like that. I'm like, who the fuck do you think I really am?
Exactly.
Some
I think
mastermind? Like,
oh man, I couldn't even say from my own experience, like mine was not as tactically aggressive as yours, but some of the things that they thought I was doing, or other actors involved in, you know, online, is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, I wonder how they conceive of these ideas.
I don't
I don't
know,
know.
man. Like, they had like in my warrant, which is publicly available online, I think a lot of it's like redacted out and stuff like that. But if you remove those black blocks, I still might have it. You'll see they took like aerial photographs and surveillance photographs, because I lived on a 12-acre farm, and from the air, that shit looks dead ass like the Al Qaeda compound, like that they raided Bin Laden on. Like, you know, that little Pakistan
Yeah.
shit where he was hiding out.
Oh my
It
God.
looked
Yeah.
dead ass. I was like, did these motherfuckers run a mock-up? Like, did they build some kind of wood mock-up and like run a drill? Because they knew exactly where to go to get down to the abandoned railroad. They knew exactly where the buildings were. Like, I'm like, did they smashed windows out of RV and cleared that, threw in flashbangs and things like that? And I'm like, I have a computer. You know what I mean? I have
Yes.
a fucking computer. That's it. Like, why?
That's
Like, why?
exactly. Wow. So you get arrested, and let's take you to let's go to the time when you're in custody. Are you are you interviewed? Are
Yeah,
you interviewed,
so
or are you interrogated?
the court disagrees, right? So
Right.
there's FBI agents at the table, special agent at the table, sitting on my back patio. I'm in cuffs. I can't get up. I can't move freely throughout my house. I can't go get my own stuff. I even said I was thirsty. They had to walk me in to get that. They wouldn't let me use the bathroom. I was still in cuffs. They never uncuffed me one time. There was agents behind me, agents in front of me, agents to the side of me. You know what I mean? My brother being interviewed on the side of the house and stuff like that and whatnot. So the court, whenever we moved to do a Miranda motion, basically to suppress all my statements made about myself, saying, yeah, I accessed the website. Yeah, I changed the password, you know, that sort of stuff. The court disagreed that I was detained. Now, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Working in law, especially now, I wasn't free to move around my own house. I was in cuffs, you know what I mean? And I was being questioned. Never once was I told that I was free to leave. Never once was I told that I was being detained either, which I think was a key point that the court focused on. But I didn't ask. You know, I didn't know my rights really like that, like I do now.
Right.
I think that that's very important for citizens to know their rights and know, hey, I'm shutting the fuck up. I want my lawyer. Am I free to leave? Am I being detained? Am I free to leave? Am I being detained? Those should be the only two questions out of your mouth each time you meet a cop or a fed.
Let me ask you this. I have like a community edition of Zoom. So at some point in about 7 minutes, it's probably going to close. It's going to save. It's going to, give me the video of this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot you another link, and then we can go again. We're about to discuss what it's like for you as a hacker, not as a criminal, like in the conventional sense, being in prison with actual criminals. That's where I really want to go next.
Man, I got
Yeah,
some stories for you.
everybody has very different
Yeah, we can do
experiences. So yours is very valuable to me personally, because I do prison reform activism and humanitarian activism full time, and this is very interesting, especially because a lot of people, even hackers, non-hackers alike, they don't know what it's like actually being in the system, and people will, their ears are going to be itching to learn what your experience was like. Yeah. So anyways, let's continue for another 5.
For sure.
So one of the things that they asked me when on the night that I was arrested was they wanted information about Anonymous. The crazy thing was, is at the time, the ETA, we were kind of a dichotomy of things. Many of my members were anonymous members in secret, whereas in public, we were adversaries. We don't have to ruminate on that. Hackers play double roles all the time. But they were asking me, what can you tell us about Anonymous? And I was just like,
That was a key question.
what can you tell us about Anonymous? I said, nothing you don't already know. And the conversation literally ended right there. So like in 2008, we had, Albert Gonzalez, who stole 170 million like credit card and ATM numbers, who got 20 years. He was the first hacker in history to get 20 years. And then we also had, Matthew Lehman, aka Little Hacker, the blind phone phreaker. He got 11 years. I ended up getting 11 years, though my sentence was originally 9. And then you had, WikiLeaks happened in 2010, and around 2010 is the time frame I'm being sentenced. And then Aaron Swartz, Barrett Brown, Jeremy Hammond, and then you come into play in there. And so there was like this, there was this agenda, especially because Anonymous was proliferating, and there was just so much chaos going on, a lot of damages to protect computer systems, a lot of amazing hacktivism, a lot of just bullshit script kiddie attacks. That
all of it,
it was just, there was a lot that they were dealing with at the time, and so they were trying to hit us all as hard as possible. I mean, you got more time than the rapists. Andy Heath, who was the prosecutor in Barrett's case, they try to give him 105 years
Yeah.
just for being
Yeah,
a journalist, for copying and pasting a link from one chat room to another.
yeah, yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah. I think that's exactly what I told now this in multiple media outlets that covered me during my trial is the message that the government's sending here is you get more time for forcibly entering your way into a computer than you do a woman. You know, they went on to play college ball while I was eating ramen. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
It doesn't even make sense. It's hard to even try to make sense of it because there's nothing rational about it.
Yeah. And I
Wow.
by no means am a victim by any means. I do it all again just to make sure that, you know, somebody ain't sticking up for a rapist. And, you know, I just, for instance, on the way to prison, we passed my exit in Greensboro because I came up from USP Atlanta, you know, same prison Whitey Bulger and Al Capone was in.
Yeah.
And came up from USP Atlanta, and the driver looked at me. I didn't even know his name. He just looked at me and he knew where I lived. And he's like, I'd let you off right here if I could. I got a daughter too. And I
Wow.
was, yeah, yeah. So to say that the guards didn't let me get a pass would be an understatement. Uh, I could sit at any table I wanted to. You know, I ran with a different car, I ran with a GD car. Just that's who I grew up around and stuff like that, and ran with gangster disciples. But like, you hang out with your people, but I go I could sit anywhere. Like my paperwork checked out. Like even if I wanted to sit with the white supremacists, I could. Like you know what I mean? Because I ain't no snitch, I ain't no sex offender. So my time in prison wasn't all that hard, but it was hard. I was in there like FCI Petersburg, man. That's where they house people to give material support to Al Qaeda. That's where they house radical terrorists and stuff like that, violent people. I was in there with people that have shot and killed 14 people, you know what I mean, and are in prison for life, you know, gang leaders and stuff like that that stepped down, you know, as they aged out and the points lowered. And so they went lower and lower and lower. And so that was wild to me that I'm sitting there talking to a dude as a person that just accessed a $12 website that killed 14 people. You know what I mean?